Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. You all know this song, don't you? But we changed a bit the lyrics.
Welcome to Release.
We are the Release Builders. PDCA. PDCA. Sing with us. PDCA. PDCA.
So, warm welcome to the construction side of the Release Builders. We are very happy to be on the European QIC contest and not on the song contest. So, content of our presentation, we start with the motivation and analysis. We continue with implementation and then show you how we live the PDCA cycle and increase with that the productivity of our IC development process. We want to evaluate then the results and then show further improvements. Okay, we belong to BL Cellular Systems. We develop processors for Nexperia mobile system solutions. Those are very complex system on a chip. And we do that spread it over several sites, so we are a very multicultural team. So our one-page strategy requires us to develop 3 major products in parallel, which is the Swift ME2, Swift Multimedia, and Swift 3G. All of those are in the range of up to 100 million transistor complexity. What is our problem? Our problem has been described once by a numerics consultant saying the following: Philips Semiconductors has a development productivity which is comparable to the one of the competition. But in contrast, we start too many projects in parallel, we understaff them, have delay, and miss the market window, which of course is a loss of a lot of money because we have to stop certain projects. So what is our solution? We found it into this year's QIC brochure, where we found under the must-do actions for 2004 that we need to improve the R&D effectiveness. And that's why we are here, the Release Builders. So what is our solution? We want to deploy, in fact, a tool which increases the R&D productivity of all our parallel going IC projects. And this tool is called Release Builder. So what is Release Builder about, without going into too much detail right now? It's a web-based tool which helps us to improve planning, implementing, and tracking the IC design process. Why are we doing that? We need to address continuous improvement. Why? Our projects are becoming more and more complex. Do you think we get more time due to this to execute them? Oh no. So the only chance to stay competitive is to increase productivity, in fact. So what is the opportunity on that? If we really can increase significantly productivity, we can become better than the competition, we can even become best in class. And we can deliver the products in time and gain market share. In the end, we can become a very successful company. Okay, Release Builder team, let me present myself. My name is Adrian, I'm the team leader.
My name is Anton Redding, I'm a Release Builder developer.
I am Maxence Subertelli, I am the Release Builder trainer.
I'm Christophe Cadeau, Release Builder customer.
I'm Stefan Koch, I'm CBMI consultant.
And Hatem Ayar is not in today, unfortunately.
And finally, it's me, Sascha Perre, a typical Release Builder user.
So our analysis started with a causal analysis to understand what causes project delay. For instance, the IP reuse was not organized efficiently, dependency on IP suppliers we had, the specification continues to change, verification requires a lot of effort, we have a limited control over OSRP milestones, the projects are complex and it's difficult to communicate in between teams just spread over several sites and over big mountains. And so out of this causal analysis, we define the metric, which is the benefit over the complexity to implement improvements. And we realized for a few issues, we cannot do much about it. But for other items like OSRP, project control, project communication, and IP reuse efficiency, we can do something about it. And therefore, we do it with a can-do, will-do spirit. So these three major improvement areas, I start with project management. The project can be seen as from start of the project, implementation project start to the tape out, and the idea is to break up the complete project in several releases, for each of which we are going to perform a PDCA cycle, where we do plan the next release, we are performing it, we are doing it, and we are putting everything together in a release. We are checking the integrity by doing the regression, and then we act by deciding whether we deploy the release to the design community or not. And so we are able to divide the complete development cycles into many PDCA cycles. For reuse, we addressed the CMMI quality audit, and we realized that we were not too much complying with respect of configuration management, and the potential improvements were, for instance, enforcing change documentation, improve history trace, establishing the integrity between the design and the problem report and change request database, and, for instance, institutionalized status accounting. And project communication, we are a team split. For instance, some people are in Switzerland, Adrian is in Göteborg, and other people are in southern France. Well, we can communicate a lot by flying all over these sites with Philips airplanes, but in the end, the mountains in between Switzerland and France, they are very high. It's difficult to communicate between them. So we need some technological methods to foster communication. Release Builder goals were, for instance, to divide the complete development process in regular PDCA cycles by increasing the CMMI configuration level 2 compliance from 20 to 80%. Release integration should take less than 2 days. Enable traceability of design changes. Being able to have a web-based communication and have everything ready by October 2004 for the roll-off. And these goals are specific, ambitious, time-phased, measurable, realistic, and they are smart. Release Builder is a perfect tool which fits into the BCAM toolset. That's a strategic initiative from Philips Semiconductors for deploying same type of tools over the sites. And so we are able, for instance, to connect Release Builder with Spark project planning tool. We use Numetrics for justification of our result through benchmarking, and as well other tools like Synchronicity are used. So we use only standard tools, which therefore can be used for any project and therefore can be used PD-wide.
We also had a look over the fence to the software community, which has similar requirements like version control, build management, workspace management, process control, release management, bug tracking, and remote working support. All those points they already had to address 10 years ago because of their growing software design complexity. Meanwhile, they are really expert in this field. We are now having the same requirements, so we really can learn a lot from them. Now, for benchmarking, we had a look into 2 tools. One, the HCM from Synchronicity. The other one, SWM, our tool we were using so far. And what we see, most of the features were not really covered by the 2 tools. So we could not use them as they were so far. So we had 2 options: either implement them by ourselves, by enlarging the feature set of the SWM tool. This has the advantage that we keep the know-how and also that we have the full control on the feature set. The other option would be that we let Synchronicity to customize the HCM tool for us. This has the advantage that we don't need to care about the implementation, but as it was not on the main roadmap of the tool provider, and we do not get the financing, we had to discard this solution. So now let's go over from the analysis phase to the implementation phase. In the project implementation plan, you see that we had planned to have the release builder, the first version, available by October 2004 for the lead project Swift ME2. Then we did an evaluation on that tool, and the outcome will then go into the next version of the release builder tool, and we also plan to do a presentation at the next WWDC conference. Now let's have a look in the implementation phase of the release builder tool itself. In order to go from our previous version of the tool to the release builder tool, we had to set up a test environment. We did the implementation, the tests, and we also did customer evaluation, and in the end we did a training for all the designer and project leader using that tool. And when we had accomplished all this, we were ready for the rollout of the first version of Release Builder. During the implementation, we had a daily meeting on the implementation phase. We called that one daily progress review, and then we had on a bi-weekly time frame, we had this customer interface, which we called change control board. And there was also on-the-spot meetings wherever they were needed.
So, okay, now let's make a small demonstration on how we live the PDCA cycle. Let's start with the project leader, our main customer, Christophe Cadeau. How do you plan your releases using Release Builder?
So it's really easy. I just open the web interface, and for each designer, I put a smart objective for the next releases.
So this is now visible to all designers, isn't it, Maxence?
Yes, everybody can see that. So I know the tasks that I have to do, and I can begin to work on them.
Okay, excellent. Once you're finished with your work, what are you doing then?
When it's finished, I launch Release Builder.
Anton, can you launch Release Builder for us?
Yes, I can do that.
Okay.
So, Release Builder gives me the list of all the items modified. So, for each item, I will enter a comment to explain what has been done. I will enter a link to the change request and problem report database so that we can track. I will do that for each item. When it's finished, I will enter a global comment to explain all the changes. And then I will send it. That means that I will make it visible for the entire design community, especially for the integrator.
So that means we can now look what with such a request is happening. Let's see with the release integrator, Sasha, what is your work now?
In fact, Release Builder is doing my job very easy. I just launch Release Builder again and select the requests I want to integrate and make them fit together. Once this is done, I just simply make it visible again in the web interface, where we can track the progress and see all the changes done.
Excellent. And that means your work is finished now?
Not completely. What I then have to do is to run our automated test suite, and as soon as this one has finished, the results are visible again in Release Builder.
That's fantastic. Now that these results are available, Christophe, what are you doing with these results now?
I just reopen the web server. I analyze the results. So in this case, they look very nice. So we could provide the grid line to deliver the release, and we will send an email to the entire design and validation community.
Excellent release.
So we can see we close the loop basically, and we could run a new PDCA cycle.
Thank you very much for this demonstration, Christophe. So I would say let's go directly to the results, what we achieved with that tool in the end.
Okay, so just remaining our objective. So basically all are met. There is still one running with the CMMI level 2 compliancy, but the target is end of this year. And we have to mention a very good result about web-based project communication, which is very handy handy and as well, how to say that? Yeah, handy, I would say. Okay. So Release Builder is deployed and used. So basically, there is 50 designers working on 4 sites. We already made 23 releases on Swift ME2, 15 on Swift MM, and we already integrate like 700 requests roughly. So we have made already 1 tape-out with that, and we have 2 other tape-out in the pipe. So we already plan 19 releases till April, and we will have a run rate of 2 releases per week. So I will say the PDCA wheel is spinning faster and faster, and we get more and more productive. Okay, just have a look on the Philips value. So our management is very kind to get highest project execution bandwidth. Project leader could better plan and track their designer, and designer get smart objective from one release to another, and we strengthen our communication above all the 4 sites. So I've been involved since the first day. My needs were tracked every week. The tool is designed around me. It's easy to experience, and Release Builder is advanced. So you could see the three pillars for brand new positioning. And in 2 words, sense and simplicity.
Now that we had quite some input from the running projects, we made a comparison using the Numerics tool, comparing a project running without Release Builder. We worked on a productivity of 1,500 complexity units per person week, while the project using Release Builder, we had a productivity of 2,500 complexity units per person week. And this is 65% increase. And that's just incredible. Then we made a short cost balance. By spending 250 days to develop this tool, what we gain is 200 days saving per project, man days. In addition, since we are more productive, we can be 2 months faster on the market. And due to the good communication, the good quality we have with the tool, we can reduce the risk of making a new mask set. And last but not least, we can run more products and having less the danger of canceling projects. And you see, we have really an improved productivity, which ends up in a higher result. Well, the key financial point there is really that we have a much bigger productivity, and we do not miss the market window, and this really reduces the risk of canceling projects. And a cancelled project we can estimate in our business line with around 20 million euros.
Well, it was important. Such a result is appealing, isn't it? Let's make some call. Let's call Sophia. Yes, Alexander, you want Release Builder for your project? Okay, you're right. It can be very useful. Okay, thank you. Sebastian, so you feel better now? You have Release Builder for the Swift ME2? Yes, it's nice. It makes the life easier. Okay, see you, bye. But now, let's make some call outside. Hello, Shanghai. Oh, sorry, Gert, you are sleeping now. Ah, yes. Oh, what? You were dreaming about Release Builder? Okay, so, have a nice night. Bye. Sorry. One more. What's his name? Vaseline, thank you. Vaseline, so, you are happy? You will have Release Builder for your new project? For the new business line? Okay. See you. This last point is interesting. We are now two business lines working with the same tool, with the same methodology, so we are working as one Philips. Well, in order to keep on being so appealing, so good I would say, we have a process for improvement in place. Every user can give its feedback. This feedback goes to a program report and change request database. During the bi-weekly change control board meeting, we analyze the proposition, we set the priorities, and then we implement something new. Soon, next month, we will deliver the release 2.0 of Release Builder with some more nice features.
Okay, with that, let's now close the circle. You remember this slide? That was our initial problem. Too many projects in parallel, not productive enough, missing the market window. Now we significantly improved and have a productivity increase by 65%. And we think we really have to give that benefit also into the PD. So for the 2005 year, our target is really, with our experience, help the increase of the productivity for the whole PD. How can we do that? We are glad that we have tonight some DTG people with us. We can have a beer together. And our plan is really to bring Release Builder inside DTG, standard flow. And we started already the discussion on it. And the first feedback was, sounds very interesting. We don't have a tool like that at the moment. Okay, so next year we really hope to reduce the number of cancelled projects PD-wide.
And this is the Release Builder track, taking up Adrian in Göteborg, passing through Europe, taking up the Zurich crew on our way to southern France, and this is the way actually we came to Limassol. Thank you for your attention.
Okay, so congratulations again, another very impressive presentation with some great results. What would you say was the biggest challenge that you faced in this program?
Well, I can answer to that question. The biggest challenge was that we had to do something which is not our core business, okay? Mm-hmm. It's not our hobby to develop tools like that, but nothing was available. We did really a detailed benchmark inside semiconductors, even outside. And we saw that as the only option to really meet the challenge of the future.
Okay. On top of that, we first had to convince our management that it really is needed, and once we had convinced it, then we get their support, and then we could implement it.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think very good results, because the R&D effectiveness is one of the major attention things we need to improve in the PD. So how many interested users are already knocking on the door to get this implemented and asking for your advice or help?
So cordless, business line cordless, they are just about to start their new project. And since we work under the same rule with them, it's obvious that they take over this technology.
Yeah. But I think other BUs clusters should, of course, also make use of it.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes, but I think we will prefer to go to DTG flow. I will say to try to push inside the flow and to be deployed afterwards. We could support, I think, one major team in our building, but to support too many teams, I think, will be more on DTG side.
Okay.
When you would have the chance to do this project again, what would you do differently?
Yeah, when we started the project, we really underestimated the feasibility studies. We thought, yeah, we know the methodology, how we need to work, and then we needed to have a tool, but we didn't really know how it should look like, and there was a lot of discussion then with the designer, and also we had to compile different ideas in a way that it gives a tool which is really easy to use, and not difficult to implement. That was the major challenge, and we underestimated that analysis stage.
What are the major limitations of this solution?
That's a good point. Basically, there are no limitations we see at the moment, but we clearly have to say this addresses bigger teams with a high project complexity. If you have 2 or 3, 4 members in a project, you probably don't need a tool like that, but we have in average 40, 50 designers on our projects distributed over several sites. There it's a big enabler to be successful.
How are you going to take care of the maintenance of the tool? Or who is going to be responsible for keeping this future-proof?
What we have already showed what is the maintenance process. So we have also a project, a horizontal project set up, which then has bi-weekly CCBs. There we can discuss the tickets which are entered for problems and improvement requests. And in there we decide whether we are going to implement that or not. So there is a process in place which enforces the quality of the tool.
That was my question.
One more question. Yeah, the beginning at the analysis phase, you said the problem really was that we had too many projects running in parallel. Not as such the process, but just too many to handle. Do we have less projects now, or what is the real answer from the tool to the solution?
I would formulate it that way. PCAM says, do the right projects right. In our community, our responsibilities is on the latter one, the right. The portfolio management, in fact, is done somewhere else. And we take what is in the one-page strategy and try to do the work there as best as we can.
Yeah, okay.
So, thank you very much again.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.